Hey everyone, my name is Jacob. Today we're going to be looking at and talking about the HomePod because I've had it for weeks. So this is basically going to be an informational video about the HomePod, but also my review of it in the past week. First, let's talk about the sound. So I plugged in this HomePod the first day. I played music. This was off my unboxing video. I played music and I listened to it and it blew me away. It sounds so good. It is the best speaker that I've ever heard. It sounds very, very good. Now, I am no sound expert, but I know whenever things sound good, and just from a normal consumer standpoint, I could hear how much better it sounds than other speakers in the room. The bass is crazy good. It sounds so good. But away from how it sounds, let's talk about how it works, because what's happening inside of the HomePod is absolutely crazy. So they built a high excursion woofer with a custom amplifier to play a wide range of deep, rich bass. And the bass sounds, like I said earlier, really, really good. The HomePod has a unique array of 7 beam-forming tweeters, each with its own amplifier, and each custom designed with a precision acoustic horn that focuses sound for tremendous directional control. So inside the HomePod is an Apple A8 chip. This is the same chip that is in some of the iPhones. This is crazy good chip inside of a speaker like this. It does things like real-time modeling of the woofer mechanics, buffering that's even faster than real time, upmixing both direct and ambient audio, beamforming so that the microphone can hear you over loud music, and let me tell you, that works. I was blaring music and I was just testing it out. I was far away from the HomePod and I said, "Hey Siri, stop." And she heard me. It was, I think it was probably 8 or 9 volume, not 10, but they're very close to the top. And she heard me. I was blown away by it because Alexa and Google Home, I've had both of them and it's never worked like that. That was a pretty cool thing to experience. But the HomePod also automatically analyzes the acoustics, adjusts the sound based on the speaker's location, and separates the music into direct and ambient sound. The direct sound is beamed to the middle of the room, while ambient sound is diffused into the left and right channels and bounced off the walls. So your music sounds amazing wherever you are in the room. And it is, I don't know how to explain it to you. It is so crazy what this sounds like. It just sounds so good. Whenever I'm hearing the music, I'm like, I cannot believe that this little speaker is doing all of these things. It's crazy. This really shouldn't surprise us though, because Apple said that their HomePod would be able to rock the house. And rock the house it does. Literally, you'll be sitting at a table like 20, 30 feet, maybe even more away from the HomePod, and the table will be shaking. This is at high volume, so you don't have to have the table shaking, but the table will be shaking, the chair will be shaking, even at like 8%, 7%. It's crazy. So now that we've talked about the music, you know about the music, it sounds good. Let's talk about Siri, the voice assistant inside of the HomePod. Now everyone knows that Siri is not the best personal assistant compared to like Google or Alexa, but Siri can do a lot of things. As I said before, the HomePod is designed for music, and Siri definitely shows that as well. It's actually pretty cool what Apple Music and Siri can do together. So basically, Apple Music learns your taste in music. So all I have to do is say, "Hey Siri, play some music." And Siri will play what you want to hear. So say that you listen to a lot of pop, Siri will start playing pop. Say that you listen to a lot of jazz, Siri will start playing jazz. Say that you listen to a lot of Imagine Dragons, she'll start playing Imagine Dragons. She knows what you listen to. What's really cool about the HomePod is that if anyone's connected to your Wi-Fi, they will be able to stream music from their iPhone to the HomePod. So anyone else in your household will be able to play or pause music playing on the HomePod. Speaking of AirPlay, HomePod also works with your Apple TV. So you can connect your Apple TV to your HomePod and then it'll play just like a normal speaker. In the future, Apple will allow HomePod to work with stereo sound. So that means that you can have 2 HomePods at your TV and it'll work just like stereo sound. It's gonna be pretty cool. Some other things that you can do with HomePod is set timers, convert measurements, get translations, and get live news, sports, weather, and traffic. You can also send messages with your HomePod by just using your voice, and if you have a message, you can just ask Siri, "Hey, do I have any more messages?" And then she'll read your messages, and then you can reply. You can also receive calls on your HomePod. Just on your iPhone, you're gonna press handoff, and then it'll hand it off to your HomePod. That easy. HomePod can also control HomeKit-enabled devices. Just say, "Hey Siri, turn on the lights." Or you can be like, "Hey Siri, make the light blue," if your device supports that. Some of the HomeKit devices are smart lights, smart plugs, thermometers, smart locks, and basically anything else that's HomeKit enabled and you have set up through your Home app. Siri can control. So now that you know almost everything about HomePod, let me give you my review after a week of having it. So let's start off with the pros. So like I've said about 100 times, it sounds amazing. That's definitely a pro. The HomePod was designed for sound and it sounds so good. I also like Siri's voice. It's a lot more natural than maybe Google's Home voice sounds a little like staticky or robotic. So I don't really like Google Home voice that much. Alexa is definitely in second place or maybe tied. She sounds good too. Another pro is that even though Siri can't do a lot of stuff that the Google Home and Alexa can do, it's still a pretty good assistant. Like I said, you can do timers, you can ask the weather, you can do a lot of the basic things. But if you're wanting to do more of the advanced things like calling an Uber or ordering Starbucks or pizza, you can't do anything like that with the HomePod yet. Another good thing about HomePod is that it does have software that will be updated continuously in the future, so it can keep on getting smarter. So maybe in the future, we'll have a lot more features that the Alexa could have. I know already they're gonna add that stereo sound that I was talking about, and then AirPlay 2, which will be able to play the same music in all different rooms or different music in different rooms. The design is probably my favorite design of all of them. The fabric is really cool. It's also pretty small, so you can get it in any place that you really want to. Also, the compatibility with iPhone is really, really cool because that's my ecosystem. I use Apple for everything. So just the way that these two things work together is really, really good. The Apple designed it very well. Here are some of the cons. Like I said earlier, Siri cannot do as much as Alexa and Google Home can do. That's definitely a con, and Apple will work on that in the future. Secondly, it is a new product, so yeah, it will mess up sometimes, and Apple's gonna fix that in software updates for sure. Third, it's pretty expensive, so it would be really hard to buy multiple of these and put them around a room. But a report just came out that this thing costs $216 to make. So if you actually think about it, it costs way more to make than the Echo cost at a consumer price. So this thing has a lot of technology in it. $216 is pretty expensive to make something like this. Looking at it, how it costs $216 to make this thing, Apple's price of $350 isn't really that crazy. But like I said, if you're on a budget like me, who I don't have a lot of money, I can't go around buying 5 of these and putting them around the house. Maybe working up to it in the future would be pretty cool, but I'm good with just having this for myself right now. The fourth thing this is kind of silly, but there's no way to be able to mute this. They'll probably come out with it in the future, but I haven't found a way to mute this thing. And sometimes, like whenever I'm editing and I say, "Hey Siri," she will go off and she'll start talking to me, and that's kind of annoying. The Google Home and the Echo both have this. So that is something to keep in mind. The fifth con is that it doesn't work with all of my smart home devices, and that's because I wasn't preparing to have HomeKit enabled devices. You just have to buy them. That's just a con for myself, but also just keep that in mind. Make sure that your devices are HomeKit enabled if you want to control them. So yeah, that is my first week impressions of the HomePod. I'll definitely have more videos about it. If you didn't see earlier this week, I did a HomePod versus Amazon Alexa. Go be sure to check that out. And give this video a thumbs up if you like the video. And be sure to share it with your friends who are maybe contemplating getting a HomePod, have a HomePod, they might learn something new, or they just like technology. Be sure to do that. You can there's like a little share button below, so it's pretty easy to do. I know this is a lot, but also be sure to subscribe because I'll have more videos about the HomePod in the future, and you'll be able to see those as soon as they come out. All right, everyone, tell me what you think about the HomePod in the comments below. If you have one, if you think it's crazy overpriced or whatever. I will see you all in the next video, which I don't know if it'll be about the HomePod or not. We'll see. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you later. Goodbye.